Welcome back, everyone. This is Rendar here with Zan. I'm at Felon Fair in South Carolina. I just got back from doing an event, War of the Barons. Can you tell us about the War of the Barons? You can tell it better than I can.
Absolutely. So War of the Barons was kind of inspired by several films and different projects that we had done where we loved this idea of small units where there's a nobleman who is leading a small group of knights, retainers, and archers. And so we went and we found 20 different people that we thought would be great leaders and could organize a community and bring them to battle. And Dash, you were one of those barons. Yeah. So you lead a all archery barony. Yes. It's kind of on brand for you, right? And so we get to stay for a weekend, eat medieval food, fight medieval battles, run around in the woods, shoot each other with fake arrows, and hit each other with fake swords. It's a great time and kind of lets you live in the footsteps of a medieval warrior for a weekend.
And it was amazing. And honestly, that's something that was outside of the realm of something I've ever done. I'd never been a nerd in public, so to speak. But going out there with 300 or 400 people who are just as engaged as you are, it was truly special, and I had an amazing time. So I'm in his workshop now because they build stuff. If you've ever seen that green cloak I have, they are the ones who made it. So we're going to tour around the shop and the workshop and show you where it's made, how it's made, and some of the really cool stuff that's out here.
So at Felon Fair, we specialize in using authentic kind of medieval style materials. So all of our linen garments are made out of 100% small batch dyed European flax linen. And so we realized that it was really important that people had a way to, and an opportunity to come in and test and touch and feel and try sizes and stuff, because these are premium products, so we wanted people to really be confident in what they were buying. And so we opened up not just our workshop here for Felon Fair, but also the opportunity for people to come in and visit. So these are some of our linen products right here. Over here we've got other products that we have. So we specialize in this riveted aluminum mail. So after doing films for years with steel chainmail, you know how heavy that stuff is. So trying to take an actor who's not used to this stuff, or trying to take somebody who's just coming out for a weekend and try to encase them in steel mail is a nightmare. So we worked to develop this this aluminum riveted chainmail.
And it is really cool because there's some steel mail in the back, and we'll show the differences, I think, between the weights of those here. But this is still relatively heavy, what, 15, 20 pounds?
About 15 pounds.
15 pounds, yeah. But the cool thing about it is you can see that it's a riveted mail. And so a lot of people, you can get butted mail and even the steel, but it just doesn't have that look, right? If it's round mail, you can tell it doesn't have that authentic look to it. But this looks completely like the real deal at a fraction of the weight. So if someone's having a fun time and they want to have some mail on, they can rock this, and it looks really good in cameras, videos, and everything.
So other things we have, like I said, we have not just things like tunics and stuff, but we have all sorts of cloaks and robes. It's kind of how Felon Fair kind of got its name. Like you said, that's how we met. You bought one of our cloaks. So I was like, this guy's doing videos in our cloak. Well, we should reach out and talk to him. And here we are a couple years later. Then obviously, like, we do full costume stuff. So whether it's film stuff or our events, we consult with people and they say, hey, I want this specific look. I want to do this thing. And then we do specialty fun stuff too. So we're big Lord of the Rings nerds. So having stuff like Gondorian soldier armor and stuff is a lot of fun. We've done a lot of great photo shoots and stuff with this.
And I'm going to grab this too, because I saw this and it was really cool, because I was just looking at archer helms and everything. And so we have this visored sallet, and this is going to be one of those key archer helms where you have good protection coverage. You can pop up the visor when you're shooting a volley, and if a volley is coming, you can drop it down real quick. And it's lighter weight than a lot of things, so it's really good fit. It feels comfortable on your head.
This is kind of the peak of medieval armor. Yes, they really had it figured out at this point.
This is like 15th century heavy archer. Got some brigandine, got some plate leggings, maybe. You got some money. You're gonna want a good helmet. And these just have a fantastic aesthetic look to them as well. They're incredibly cool. And so every ranger obviously needs a cloak. And right here, there's one being put together now. And so when I was out there, we wear these attire and this fun stuff, but we're rolling around, you're getting muddy, and it's holding together well. So tell us about the materials you use to basically construct this so it can take that kind of abuse.
So this is a heavyweight wool coating material that we use. We also, the way we do this is we try to use medieval aesthetics, but we use modern manufacturing techniques. So to make sure that that hand stitching isn't in there, like we're really using quality modern machines to get a really strong construction, so that it can be. I mean, these are made for action. This is sports equipment. Right. It's made to be have sword fights. It's made to run around in the woods. So starting from really quality materials like Megan is cutting out over here is really, really key. And that's what you're going to find throughout all of our products.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are at a leather making station now. This here is Patrick, by the way. We were at the event together, and at the event I felt like I had old warrior because he kept challenging me and wanting to grapple, and I had to take him down a few times.
Yeah. I think I saw you deck him in the middle of the tavern.
Yes, of the tavern, which is on par for taverns, I think. That's kind of the way it should be. But he put up a good fight. 7 years, right? Yeah, 7 years. All right, awesome.
Leather was one of those awesome natural resources that they had in the Middle Ages, and it was used for so many things. And we use it here at the shop for things like belts, pouches, bags, the arrow bag that you use to your quiver to carry your arrows with. Also things like archery bracers. Obviously, we have examples of historical archery bracers, like the Mary Rose bracer and that sort of stuff. And so these little leather, whether it's tidbits that we add on cloaks or pieces like belts, really help bring that medieval outfit together and give us a lot of the functional equipment that we have to have when we go on adventures. So this is where we keep all of the fun stuff. This is our personal hoard of armor and weapons. So this is the Felon Fair warehouse. It's where we keep all of the props that we use for our events, our movies, all that sort of stuff. So whether it is Weekend Warrior stuff, whether it is Rohan stuff from video shoots, historical items, we have a little bit of everything here.
Oh man, I need a horse now.
Yeah, you do.
I really do. Oh, this is cool.
You could be a horse lord. You got the hair for it.
Yes. Kind of hangs out a little bit. Get caught on the chainmail. So we are in the warehouse now, and this is the mail I was talking about earlier, because right here we have steel riveted mail, which is a small, and we have this one here, which is a larger aluminum. It's a fraction of the size. The weight difference is truly astounding. Probably about a good 2 to 3 times heavier, you were saying, for the riveted steel mail. While extremely cool and functional, it's not really applicable much in the day-to-day unless you're doing boohurt or some kind of thing like that. So this is a really cool, nice little alternative that has a very aesthetic look to it.
Great for anything that doesn't have to stop actual edged weapons.
Yes.
Cool. We have padded armor, which is super important. So you've got padded gambeson on under your armor here. So padded armor was the base layer that any member of the feared or the militia would have. This would be like basic peasant armor. And you've tested, I know, a lot of them, and they will stop some stuff.
Yeah, no, especially for slashing. Thrusting for with the heavy war bows, padded gameson's not going to do much. But with slashing weapons, it can cut into it, but it's enough to take the edge off to where it's not going through the entire body. What do you do if someone has on this? This, by the way, is titanium brigandine. And I didn't need to wear it, but I saw it, and I'm like, can I wear that? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, yes, this is going to be my look for the rest of the video. But what do you do? Because there's gaps in this, and you're not going to be able to cut through it or pierce through it. Well, what do you have there?
So this is a rondelle dagger, and so this would be a great weapon for getting into the chinks of the armor. Like, as you've seen in battle, a lot of times you get close, and it gets into a grappling match, right? So one of the things that I do at events like War of the Barons, I often carry a dagger in my left hand, and then if you get inside, for example, a polearm with your sword, I'll drop my sword, go to my dagger, and then just move up on the person and just pop, 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 pop. That's a great way to take out a heavily armored opponent, to get a bunch of hits on them real quick. But in this scenario, for example, if we were to get in and I use your axes and I get inside your axe here, then I can come in here and then just basically find a chink in that armor and exploit it. Now, even if he was wearing chainmail under this, chainmail is not as good against piercing attacks. So you've got that. You also have a heavy pommel. So, I can come up under, like the chin like that, or I can flip it around and I can bludgeon that. Or I can just work to try to find the chinks in the armor wherever that is. That's literally where the term chink in the armor comes from. So you got to find that gap in the armor, and then all of a sudden, bam, game over.
And what warehouse would be complete without a sword wall? So why don't you tell us about the swords here, what they are, what they're made out of, and how you use them?
Yeah, so in addition to the safe foam weapons that we use for our live action events, we have all of these swords for film projects and photo shoots and stuff. So we basically have 3 types of swords. We have our blunt steel swords. So these are cheap, but they're heavy, they're unwieldy, and they are not really safe when it comes to if you want to do high-speed sort of fighting and stuff. They're so heavy, they're basically bludgeoning weapons at that point. You can see also the blades get chewed up pretty bad. And so with things like that, they are good for background, they're great for extras, and you're not going to be up front, but they're going to wear out eventually, and they're not that great. We also have what we call our hero swords. So these are sharpened steel blades that have a real edge to them, and these are great for the close-ups, the hero shots. The hero on the horse, kind of leading the charge, that sort of stuff. But very dangerous if you're going to actually be in a film where
Right.
you are trying to fight and do stunt
Right,
work. And
right,
that sort of
right,
thing.
right.
Not something you actually want to be swinging around.
Yeah.
So that is where we have our third and final type of blade. And this is our aluminum stunt blade. Now, our blacksmith, Charlie Ellis, made these for us. And these are spaceship grade aluminum. And this technology was actually first developed for the Lord of the Rings movies, where they used these aluminum stunt swords so they could go out there and really wail on each other. And it's much lighter, but they're also properly balanced. So the fighting looks correct because the blades are really well balanced.
And if you guys have never held an aluminum sword like this, it's really interesting because your brain expects it to feel a certain way, and you grab it and it's so much lighter. It's such a different feel from a steel sword. It's really quite cool.
They're also all very well balanced, as you can see. And so whether it's something like that, which is a Viking style sword, or this is kind of how we envision the Blade Master swords from the Wheel of Time, kind of this combination between the katana and the European longsword. Whatever kind of style you're making, you can get that good balance to it. You can get that lightweight, accurate-looking combat while still being relatively safe. And the swords will, as long as you're fighting aluminum on aluminum, the swords will.
They can handle the aluminum on aluminum.
There's a different ring to them.
Yeah, it has a very that sounds really cool, honestly. So as I'm sure you can imagine, not everybody wants to take punches to the guts in brigandine.
Hit me!
Face an actual shield charge. Or shoot warbows or wrestle in the rain. This here is a wooden shield. It's got a steel boss on it, and so it's really heavy duty. But here, we have a very different kind of shield.
So this is foam. This is what we use for our events like Weekend Warrior. This is actually my personal shield from Weekend Warrior. And you see it looks like it has a steel boss, but it's actually foam. And it has this leather trim to it, and then a strapping system back here. But this way, when we are doing our foam weapons, they're not getting chewed up by the metal shields. Also, there's less danger if I was to run into somebody or something like that. I'm not actually going to shield check them. There's people that have definitely taken a shield to the face. If it's foam, you're probably walking away from that. If it's steel and that sort of stuff, maybe you may lose a tooth or two. So the foam is a really handy thing if you want a more light kind of combat. Still want the medieval battle experience. Don't want to run some of the risks. This is a great option.
It's interesting to step into this world from someone who's never been into it. Just the best thing about is like the engagement and camaraderie of the people there, because I think a lot of times you have this notion of like what kind of, it's not even role playing, right? It's medieval reenactments, and so you have an idea of what that would be, but really all those inhibitions go out the window when you go out there with 300 other people that are on board with the same thing. It's just a fun experience with some like-minded people. You have a few beers and have a good time, and it really is quite immersive, very fun. Now, as you can imagine, coming from an archery background and coming as an all-archer baron, you can use bows. However, you cannot bring war bows. There is a danger inherent in that. But it doesn't make the archery any less fun. And so that was something that was really great, because I had a crew of people that were archers underneath me who all had the same passion, and we kind of had this merry men vibe. And you're just kind of running through the forest, shooting arrows at people, and it's just very different than just hitting a stationary target. Because you're working together and moving and trying to get vantage points, and archery, I think for me, feels the most real, because I think that a lot of times with the swords and the shield walls, it's a little harder, but when you're moving and you're going through the forest and you're shooting, it feels like you're actually like a brigand or someone on the highway.
It gives you this opportunity to kind of be that whole warrior, the stalker, the person on the flank, sneaking around, finding that moment of advantage and jumping in and launching your arrow, and you can save a friend who's like about to be slain by a warrior, and you just pop him right in the chest.
That concludes our tour of the warehouse. Just a kid in a candy store, honestly. All the stuff out there, everything it was so fun to see, and thank you for showing me around. If people are interested in the event or any, amazing quality stuff, where do they go?
You can follow us on Felon Fair, felonfair.shop, War of the Barons, our Weekend Warrior experience for our events. We're all over that side of the social. Obviously YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that sort of stuff. Felonfair.com is our main hub, so you can go there and you'll be directed through all the channels.
And if you're like me and you can't have enough Cloak content, because let's be honest, there can never be enough, be ready, because I am coming home with a new waterproof cloak for the state of California where it never rains, but it's better to be safe than sorry.